settlement hearings. It can be used during any time where you need to talk to somebody about what you want to present. And just like any of these boards can be used in trial, you can use them as exhibits or demonstratives in any of those pieces of the case as well. And you can present them, like I heard people talking about using your iPads as well. You know, making something move, just showing it as an example. Having a screen during a mediation or a deposition are all things that are possible. During video deposition, I know they're not as common as just having the transcript from a deposition, but having the video deposition and having the transcript from that synced up to the deposition could be really informative to a jury or a judge during a bench trial when they're watching, you know, how this person is performing from that excerpt of the transcript and what they're actually saying and how they're saying it. Seeing if somebody's, you know, kind of squirming under a question, you get their inflection when they respond to something. Or if they're completely confident, we've seen a lot of times in mock juries where somebody will have a video deposition and the jurors see it, and afterwards you get the responses that say, oh, that person was totally untrustworthy. You could tell by how their face was. And it didn't matter what they said. And then they'd read other just transcripts and just believe it straight off because this person said they were an expert and they had no other reason to deny that truth. The digital multimedia aspect of it is something I'll get into a little bit later, but it's more related to the graphics aspect. Using more kind of motion-based graphics than boards or butcher paper or PowerPoints or Prezi. There are a lot of other options for how to present information as well. I guess the most basic and comprehensive example is the kind of the entry screen to ESPN football. You would see, you know, all these flashing lights and different things like that that kind of look like these special effects are really just kind of basic images that people have animated. And you can use those in different aspects of videos that you've done for recreations, or if you need to remove a sign from a recreation. The same process is applied to those kind of video animations.
You know, I assumed, like in this one, that you could do an animation where you could turn that, you know, that bus shelter around and show the car going into it, no difference. You know, or move it a foot back, no difference. I mean, anything to make it interesting for folks.
It's essentially an animation on a video of an image. And what that can do is give the, you know, back to the entertainment value of persuasion, is give somebody something to watch while they're learning. And it keeps the attention and the motivation going for what people are going to pay attention to and remember later. Trial director is the important part of presentation in the courtroom that I focus on primarily. You may have seen it in trial, you may not have. This is kind of a broad spread of what you can do with trial director. Up here in the top corner we have a video deposition with transcript that would be running along with the person speaking. Down in the bottom left corner we have a video. This one is of a robbery, and you can blow this up full screen and focus in on specific aspects of the video while it's playing. So in this case, the focus was on the register and what was actually being taken out of the register. So while the video was playing, we zoomed in on the register. You could see the drawer pull out, see somebody reach in and see what they grabbed out. And that can be useful in certain circumstances, and sometimes you just want to play the video. But either way, it makes it easy to do it on the fly. You know, if you want to play it back at a later time and say, you know, just do that clip, that's easy to do too.
One thing I'll say is the quality of the person who's running this type of stuff is really critical. We were down in federal court recently, and it was in-house a guy who was overwhelmed, but their trial technology guy was, every time a document came up, he made sure Exhibit 117 was there, big, prominent, flashing. That made it down in everybody's notes. Meanwhile, we're going through exhibits, our guy's kind of behind at what he's doing, and we're getting information without context, and people may think that's important, but they can't remember what exhibit they use, so it's not going to be something they're going to use as readily. So the people have to be on top of this and really use this, almost like Drew and I say, is like, you know, as the attorney, you're the conductor, and the trial tech person is one of the instruments who should be flowing along with you, you know, and that's what makes it interesting, and that's where you're showing command and control of the courtroom.
Right. And so the third aspect is just another exhibit, like Ted was saying, where you would call up, what exhibit number it is, pop it up on the screen, call out the important text that you want to show people, highlight the different lines. And the impressive part about this is that it's all on the fly. So when you want to call out a certain line, and maybe you see another thing while you're calling that out and say, oh, well, I want to highlight that too. It doesn't have to be prepared in advance. It doesn't have to be something that you worked on the night before if you notice it right then, or you didn't notice it the night before when you were working on it, but you wanted to do that aspect of the presentation.